As he stepped out of the time machine, Thomas gazed around at the unfamiliar landscape. The sky was a deep purple, and the trees seemed to lean in, as if listening to his every thought. He consulted the instruments on his wrist, frowning at the erratic readings. Something was off. Malfunction? He muttered to himself, running a diagnostic on the device. The results made his heart sink. He was 3.7 minutes off schedule and 47.3 kilometers off course. Thomas sighed, shouldering his backpack. A quick orientation was in order. He surveyed the horizon, spotting a range of hills in the distance. Perhaps he could find some sign of civilization, or at least a decent place to repair his machine. As he trudged towards the hills, the silence grew thicker, like a physical presence. Thomas quickened his pace, despite the heavy pack. Suddenly, the air shredded, and a figure materialized beside him. "Lost? Friend?" the stranger asked, eyes glinting with amusement. Thomas spun, hand instinctively reaching for the device on his wrist. "Just a minor navigation error," he replied, trying to sound casual. The stranger chuckled. "Minor? Ah, you're lucky to be alive. This dimension's got teeth, my friend." Thomas raised an eyebrow. "Dimension?" The stranger winked. You'll see. With a flourish, the stranger gestured towards the hills. "Come, I'll show you the way. My name is Jack, by the way." Thomas hesitated for a moment, then fell into step beside Jack. As they walked, the landscape shifted and flowed around them like a dream. Thomas's instruments began to whine, overwhelmed by the sheer strangeness of this place. "What is this dimension?" Thomas asked, trying to keep his curiosity in check. Jack grinned. "A nexus, a crossroads, a dimensional dumping ground. The fabric of reality gets a little sloppy in places. This is one of them." They crested a rise, and a city sprawled out before them. Turrets and spires twisted upwards, like a mad architect's fever dream. Thomas's eyes widened as he took in the patchwork of contradictions. Ancient stone walls beside gleaming crystal spires, surrounded by a moat of swirling energy. "Welcome to Mirabilis," Jack said with a sweep of his arm. "The city of wonders, where the improbable is probable, and the impossible is merely a challenge." As they descended into the city, Thomas's senses reeled. Reality seemed to bend and warp around every corner, defying explanation. Jack led him through a maze of streets, past markets filled with wonders and terrors beyond Thomas's comprehension. They stopped at a bustling cafe, where patrons from unguessable worlds sipped coffee and conversed in hushed tones. Jack gestured to an empty chair, and Thomas collapsed into it, his mind reeling. "Tell me, Jack," Thomas asked, his voice barely above a whisper, "what is the purpose of this place?" Jack leaned in, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Mirabilis is a testing ground, my friend. A proving ground for the infinite possibilities of the multiverse. And you, Thomas, are now a part of it." Thomas's eyes narrowed, uncertainty threatening to overwhelm him. "A testing ground? You mean like a lab rat?" Jack shrugged, sipping his coffee. "More like a participant. The city adapts, evolves, and reacts to the individuals within it. You, with your time machine and your curious nature, are an intriguing variable." Thomas's grip on his cup tightened. "What do you mean, within it? Am I trapped here?" "Oh, no," Jack said, waving a hand dismissively. "You can leave whenever you like, though I warn you, the exit's not always where you expect it to be. And even when you find it, there's no guarantee you'll end up where you want." Thomas's mind raced with the implications. He thought of his mission, his duty to return to his own time, to report on the possibilities of time travel. But something about Mirabilis, about Jack's enigmatic smile, made him hesitate. As if reading his thoughts, Jack leaned in closer. "Tell you what, Thomas, I'll give you a proposition. Help me with a little problem I'm having, and I'll ensure your safe passage back to your own time." Thomas raised an eyebrow. "What kind of problem?" Jack's grin grew wider. "A small matter of a temporal echo. an echo that's threatening to unravel the fabric of this dimension. I have reason to believe you might be uniquely qualified to assist me." Thomas's instincts screamed warning, but his curiosity got the better of him. "What makes you think I can help?" "Because, my friend," Jack said, his eyes glinting with mischief, "you've already demonstrated a remarkable talent for navigating the improbable, and I have a feeling that, together, we can achieve the impossible." Thomas hesitated, weighing the risks and uncertainties. But something about Jack's words struck a chord within him. The thrill of adventure, the promise of discovery, the possibility of making a difference in this strange, unpredictable world. "All right," Thomas said, extending his hand. "I'm in. What's the plan?" Jack's grip was firm, his handshake sealing the deal. "Excellent. I knew I could count on you, Thomas. Now let's get down to business." As they left the cafe, Thomas found himself swept up in a whirlwind of activity. Jack led him through the winding streets of Mirabilis, pausing to snatch cryptic messages from whispered conversations, gathering scraps of information from the city's hidden corners. Their destination, Jack revealed, was the Clockwork Cathedral, a gargantuan structure of interlocking gears, pendulums, and crystalline prisms that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. "The echo is centered within the cathedral," Jack explained, as they approached the entrance. "We need to locate the source, stabilize the anomaly, and sew up the tear in the fabric before it's too late." Thomas's eyes widened as they entered the cathedral. The air was alive with ticking clockwork, resonating with the beat of 1,000 synchronized hearts. In the center of the nave, a glowing, iridescent portal pulsed with an intense, blue-white light. "This is it, Thomas," Jack said, his voice low and urgent. "The temporal nexus, the source of the echo. Are you ready?" Thomas took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. He nodded, and together, they stepped forward, into the heart of the anomaly. As they approached the portal, the air seemed to thicken, as if the very fabric of time itself was coiling around them. Thomas felt his senses reel, his stomach lurching with the vertigo of temporal dislocation. "Steady, Thomas," Jack warned, his voice a lifeline in the maelstrom. "The Nexus is a gateway to multiple timelines. We need to find the resonant frequency, synchronize our personal chronostreams, and..." Thomas's mind reeled, struggling to comprehend the avalanche of technical jargon. Before he could ask questions, Jack seized his arm, and together they plunged into the heart of the portal. The world dissolved into a kaleidoscope of colors, a maelstrom of sound and energy. Thomas's consciousness fragmented, shards of his thoughts scattering across a cosmic roulette wheel. When the whirlwind subsided, Thomas found himself standing in a desolate, crater-pocked landscape. The sky was a deep, bloody red, and the air reeked of ozone and burning copper. "Welcome to Timeline 74321, Jack said, his voice laced with a hint of irony. "A reality on the brink of collapse. The echo is drawing energy from this timeline, creating a rift that threatens to unravel the fabric of reality." Thomas's gaze followed Jack's pointing finger, and his heart sank. In the distance, a colossal, crystalline structure loomed, its facets blazing with an otherworldly power. "The chronal accelerator," Jack whispered, "the source of the echo. We need to disable it, Thomas, or risk catastrophe on a universal scale." As they approached the accelerator, Thomas realized that his journey through time had only just begun. The fate of countless realities hung in the balance, and he was the only one who could tip the scales,